Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Jefferson, and I'm on staff here at Manna Church, and I want to welcome you to our online worship experience. Today, we're going to sing some songs of worship. We're going to hear an incredibly inspiring message from our very own pastor, Pastor Jeff, as we are in the middle of our Reach Out celebration. It's a series all about mission and outreach here in the city of High Point and all across the world. If you've been impacted by Manna Church or these online worship experiences in any way, I want to ask you if you'll share this on your social media, if you'll text the link to a friend so that we watch together, because ultimately we want the message of Jesus to get out to as many people as possible. If you're new to Manna Church, I want to let you know a little bit about who we are. We do three things. We love God, we love each other, and we love the world. And if you want to remain connected and figure out how to be a part of all of those things, I want to let you know how to do that right now. One, you can continue to watch us online every single week. Two, you can join a small group. We have in-person small groups and we have online small groups. You can find that all on our website. Or three, you can join us in person for our in-person worship gathering. Now, if you're following us on social media or if you're subscribed to our newsletter, then you've heard some changes that we've made with our in-person gathering. We are asking that everybody that comes in through the doors in the Manna Church building wear their mask. Now, if you didn't get that message, I want to tell you to go to our social media or refer to your email to hear all the reasons why. But essentially, we want to love our people. And if that means that all of us need to wear masks in the building, we're going to do that to make sure that we can celebrate and worship Jesus in a safe environment. Each week, we like to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for your generosity and your giving. Because of you, we're able to continue to advance the mission of God together. Now, if you'd like to begin to give, you can head to our website or text this phrase, MCHP Give, to the number 94090. There you can set up a one-time payment or a recurring payment. Again, thank you for giving. Because of you, we're able to equip God's people to change their world, and we get to do it together. Now, we're about to begin our online worship experience, and I just want to say this. Let's lean in. Let's begin to prepare our hearts for what God may have to do in our lives. I know that you may be feeling lonely. Maybe you simply feel tired. Maybe you just need some encouragement in your soul, or maybe you don't have words for what you're feeling. My hope and my prayer is today that God gives you exactly what you need. So let's get ready, because church starts right now.
You're seated on the throne of mercy, your glory shining bright for all to see. Oh God, I will praise you. Magnificent with grace unending, rescue us with love that never fails. Oh God, I will praise you. Who is like the Lord, strong in battle? Who is like the Lord, mighty to save? Who is like the Jesus reigns, Jesus reigns. can stand against you. You're holy. Whoa. You reign in all the earth. You reign in all the heavens. You're holy. Whoa. You're seated on the throne. Nothing can stand against you, Lord. Who is like the Lord, strong in battle? Who is like the Lord, mighty to save? Who is like the Lord, King forever? Jesus reigns. Jesus reigns. And who is like the Lord, strong in battle? Who is like the Lord, mighty to save? Who is like the Lord, King forever? And Jesus reigns. And Jesus reigns. You reign in all the earth. You reign in all the heavens. You're holy. You're seated on the throne. Nothing can stand against you. You're holy. Whoa. You reign in all the earth. You reign in all the heavens. You're holy. You're seated on the throne. Nothing can stand against you. You're holy, Lord. Peace like a river, wash over me. Immerse me in water as deep as the sea. Hide me in love, your healing embrace. Peace like a river, wash over me. As I worship your majesty, I worship your holy name. Jesus, my everything. All that I am is yours. Come, Holy Spirit, rain down on me. Break open the heavens and drench the unseen. Whoa. Pour out your presence as I pour out my praise. Come, Holy Spirit. Oh, Lord, have your way. Oh, as I worship your majesty, I worship your holy name. Jesus, my everything. Lord, send revival. Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. Come now in power, cover this land like you done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival. Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. Come now in power, cover this land like you done it before. Would you do it again? And Lord, send revival. Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And you're now in power, cover this land like you done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival. Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. You're now in power, cover this land like you done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival. Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. You're now in power, cover this land like you done it before. Would you do it again?
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. These words were uttered by Neil Armstrong in July 20th, 1969. But almost 8 years earlier, in 1961, President Kennedy challenged NASA to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade, even though polls taken in years leading up to the liftoff showed that the majority of Americans did not support NASA's moon mission. But at what cost would this mission to the moon prevail? It took $29 billion and 400,000 NASAmites' focused determination to fulfill the mission to the moon. Most of the technology needed to reach the moon was not even in existence at the time that President Kennedy ushered and uttered this challenge to NASA. But the mission of landing on the moon determined NASA's preparation. The goal was getting on the moon, landing on it, and walking on it, and working backwards. What was the preparation? The goal itself determined how they prepared to get there. If they were ever to get to the moon, innovation and invention would have to be realized. Digital technology, food safety, insulation for clothing, rechargeable batteries, and many more things we still use today were developed as a result and in preparation for this mission. But the mission also cost the lives of 3 men in order to get 3 other men to the moon. See, if you are an elite athlete and your mission is an Olympic gold medal, that mission informs how you prepare. That medal informs your nutrition, it informs your eating habits, it informs your sleeping patterns. It informs your daily activities, your training program, and who you listen to, and hopefully that would be your coach. See, that is because mission drives you. Mission determines your actions. Mission informs what you say yes to and what you say no to, how you spend your time and how you spend your money. Proverbs 16:26 says this, "A worker's appetite works for him, for his hunger urges him on." In other words, what you are thirsty for, what you are hungry for will determine the level of commitment that you have in getting to your goal. If you're super hungry, then your determination will be high for your mission. Recently, I watched an online conference, and one of the speakers tells of his experience when he met with the Chick-fil-A executives at their headquarters. The executives explained that the mission of Chick-fil-A went something like this. It was simply to get chicken to the people. That's it. Chick-fil-A is saying the reason we exist, our purpose, our mission is simply to get chicken to the people. It's just that simple. When the pandemic hit and all Chick-fil-A stores shut down, they had to reorganize. In order to reorganize, they had to revisit their mission of getting chicken to the people, because that mission statement guided them and instructed them in their regrouping strategy. Why? Because mission determines your actions and habits. See, mission determines your lifestyle, and especially as Christians being on mission, certainly if Chick-fil-A can be committed to getting chicken to people, certainly we can be committed to getting Jesus to people. You know, Jesus came to this earth and he was on mission. That mission determined what and who he gave his time to, who he gave his talent to, and who he gave his treasure to. In fact, it was said that Jesus was so passionate and so committed, it says that the disciples remembered in John 2:17 that it was written of him, zeal for your house. And I love the way the New King James Version reads it. It says, zeal for your house has eaten me up. Another version says, zeal for God's house consumed Jesus. See, when you're eaten up with something, you can't release it. You're consumed with it. It drives you. It's your lifestyle. It determines all your actions. His mission, Jesus' mission, was to reconcile men to God. And just before he ascended, he commissioned his disciples, which includes you and I, with this mission: go make disciples. In other words, go prepare men to be on this mission. Jesus' mission to reconcile men to God, he now takes that mission and he laid it on their shoulders. And if Chick-fil-A again can get chicken to people, certainly we can be more committed to getting Jesus to people. That's why every year we take time to talk about the mission of God's church, and even more specifically, what is the mission of Manna Church and how we execute that mission. And how when we say Manna Church, we're not talking about the leadership, we're not talking about the elders, we're not talking about the staff, we're talking about every person that considers Manna Church High Point their church. How we can be a part of that mission and get Jesus to the people. We want to talk about that. We're believing to raise over $35,000 above your tithe to fund our outreach in 2021. So we're talking about the R.O.C, Reach Out Celebration. We're talking about how we can fund the mission of getting Jesus to the people in our community and to the nations. And so we're asking God to speak to each one of us what our part is in reaching out to our community and the world, not only with our time, but also with our finances. So last week, we asked you to begin praying. And that's really what we're asking you. We're asking you to ask Jesus. We're asking you to ask the Father how he would have you commit financially to supporting the R.O.C, our outreach to the community. So we have a card, and you can find that on our website, and it'll help you navigate maybe a level of giving. Next week, we will ask you to make that commitment. Of course, you can make that commitment at any time. You can visit our website. All we're asking is that you pray, consider, and then obey God. So, let's go. If you're a Christian, your gifts and talents may vary. Our roles differ from one another, but we all have been called to the exact same mission. Different giftings, different roles, different players on the team. But we are on the same mission, and you know what that is? That is the evangelization of the world. In Matthew 24, speaking about the end of the age. Now, when Jesus comes back, he's speaking about the time when he comes back. This is what Jesus said in Matthew 24:14. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then, when the gospel goes out to the far corners of the earth, and then the end will come. Mission. Jesus' mission, my mission, your mission, together our mission. Last week we read about the moment Jesus was strolling down the seashore. I love that. Jesus decided, it's so funny, Jesus decided to have his home base at the sea. Everybody wants a place at the ocean, right? And we've read about Jesus strolling down the seashore when he came upon Andrew and Peter, James and John, who were in business together. They were fishermen, boats and nets. Jesus had met Andrew, John, and Peter about 2 or 3 months prior to that. And now he comes across these brothers again. And let's read Matthew 4:18. It says, "Now as Jesus was walking, while he was strolling by the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, 'Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.' And you know what they did? It says immediately they left their nets and they followed him. 3 things we're pulling out of this statement that Jesus made. He said, 'Follow me.' Then he said, I will make you into something. And he said, fishers of men. So follow me. We talked about this last week. When Jesus said, follow me, he was saying, give me your life. As a review, just looking at, when he said, follow me, he was saying, give me your life. Give me all of your life, not part of your life. Give me all of your life. In other words, entrust your heart to me, he was saying. Entrust your future to me. Entrust your relationships to me. And specifically, listen, as Americans, he's not only wasn't saying that to them, he's saying that to us. But not only are we to entrust our future and our relationships and our heart to him, but as Americans who have a love affair with freedom and independence and who have become Christians, you and I who are Americans who have become Christians, in order to follow him, we have to entrust. And when I say trust, I mean surrender to him our human rights. When I say entrust, I mean to surrender. And what we have to do in order to follow him as Americans, as Christians who live in America, we have to surrender our human rights, our civil liberties. Follow me means giving up what you are entitled to for the sake of reaching the lost. We are given certain inalienable rights, yes, by our Creator. That is godly, that is biblical. We have the image of God. But when we follow him, we surrender the very gift that God gives us for the sake of the lost, for the sake of the mission. Do you know there have been men and women historically who have surrendered their civil liberties and sold themselves into slavery in order to bring the gospel, which is the good news, to those who have been trafficked? See, follow me means to die to self and live for him. It says to me, this is what it says to me, only dead men can follow him. When he says, follow me, he says, die to yourself, only dead men can follow him. But Jesus didn't end with follow me. That was last week. He said, I will make you. See, I will make you. That means this is our preparation. I will prepare you for something. I'll make you, I'll prepare you. He said, give me all your life, and I will make you into something that you currently are not. See, that's God's great habit. He takes what is formless and makes something beautiful out of it. He takes something that's not. He says, this is what you are. This is what I will make you. You're not what I'm going to make you, but I will make you into something that you currently are not. He takes something formless and makes it something beautiful. As the poet said, he makes beautiful things out of dust. He makes beautiful things out of us. God told Abraham, I have made you what you currently are not. I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you to become a father of many nations. Even though you don't have any children right now, I've already made you this. Jesus is walking by the Sea of Galilee and he sees these men and he calls them and he says, I'm going to make you something. Currently you're fishermen, but I'm going to make you into something what you aren't currently, and that is fishers of men. And when he says, I will make you, that means he will prepare you. And that's what he's saying to us, not only to them. When Jesus speaks to his disciples, he's speaking to you and I. He says, I will prepare you. I will equip you. I will give you tools to be what you are not currently. And what did he say he would prepare them to become? He said, I will prepare you to become fishers of men. And this is our mission. Jesus prepared his disciples with a message, he prepared them with a motive, and then he gave them their mission. The message, the motive, and mission he gave them, he also is giving to you and I. So let's go through the message and the motive and the mission. The message of the kingdom, which is the gospel. That is the message of the kingdom, the gospel, which is good news, and it's good news of the kingdom of God. The gospel Jesus gave his disciples not only contains what he did for us, but also how you receive the kingdom. What Jesus did was live a sinless life. He died on a cross in our place for our sin. That's what he did. The gospel means it's good news. Listen to how Jesus delivered the gospel to the people, though. See, this is what he did, but let's look at how he delivered that message to the people. And not just to some of the people, but to all people. To the legalistic Pharisees, he gave the same good news. To the religious and the irreligious Jews and Gentiles, he gave the same good news. In Matthew 5, it says Jesus climbed upon a hill and he said this. This is how he delivered the gospel. He said, "Blessed are the poor. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the merciful, the humble, the peacemakers. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness." This is how he delivered that good news. Of course, what he did on the cross for us. But then he said, this is how you receive it, and this is who it's for. He didn't say, blessed are the circumcised, or blessed are the Mosaic law keepers. He didn't say, blessed are all those who do the natural works to be religious, or who have religious checklists of sorts without reference to motive or even one's nature. That's not who he said was blessed and who would receive this gospel. The message of the kingdom did not emphasize a natural obedience, but an internal nature. The message was repentance of heart and faith of heart. The message was not a natural adherence to the law, but an internal law that adhered to their natures. A.B. Bruce, in his book, The Training of the 12, which was written in 1871, says, here, referring to the Beatitudes, he says, here the joy of the kingdom is represented as being altogether independent of outward conditions. I love that. See, worldly happiness is associated with externals. See, I'm referring to happiness because Jesus said, blessed are the poor, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the humble. These are heart internal conditions. Worldly happiness is associated with externals, material things and experiences. In contrast, Jesus says pure joy. He says pure joy, and you know that's what blessed means. It means this indelible, indestructible joy. He says pure joy is born from an internal transformation of our nature and spills out into our actions. This is the message. Jesus even has the audacity to say, when persecuted, you are blessed. That's tough stuff. It says, when you're being persecuted for my name's sake, you are still full of this indestructible joy. We are the head, the Bible tells us, and not the tail. Not because we have more things, not because we are blessed with more stuff, but because we have been transformed internally, far beyond and above the material world, born from above. And yet all the while we live with both feet firmly planted in this world, yet not governed by it or dictated to by it. Jesus said, they may kill the body, but they can't take your soul. Our righteousness, listen, this is the message. This is a message of freedom. It's a message of grace. And it was a message that he was trying to get into his disciples because it's so hard. We're so performance oriented and think we have to earn so much. But he was preparing them with the way God thinks about salvation, not the way we perceive salvation should be. See, our righteousness is not based in ourselves. The better person we are, the more moral we are, the higher standard that we live by, the more righteous we become, we often think. Righteousness in this way is based in self, which then makes it self-righteousness. But Jesus, comparing God's righteousness with man's self-righteousness, says this in Matthew 5, "For I say to you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven." Oh my goodness. Did he really just say that? Did he really just say that unless the righteousness that God gives us, unless we embrace that we can't even enter into the kingdom of heaven? We were not even barely saved or mostly saved? When we embrace this message of transformation of our nature, the message that Jesus entrusts to us, prepares us with, we are blessed and become the source of blessing to the world. Did you get that? When we embrace this message of a transformed nature, we are blessed, and then we become the source of blessing to the world. We become the salt of the earth, the light of the world. Jesus prepared them with this message, and then he prepared them with the proper motive. The motive of the kingdom, what motivates us, is obviously to please God, but it's compassion. Compassion led Jesus to action. Compassion led Jesus, the second person of the Trinity, to become a man and come to us and be with us. It was his compassion for us. How do we know this? Well, if you read Matthew 9:36 and Matthew 14:4, it says this when you bring these two things together. It says, seeing the people, he felt compassion for them. What people? You and I. People all over the world. He felt compassion for them because they were distressed and dispirited like sheep without a shepherd. Verse 14 in Matthew, he saw a large crowd and felt compassion for them, and he healed their sick. He saw them, he felt compassion, and then he did something. It doesn't say Jesus saw them as rebellious or independent and willful sinners, but as they truly were, as you and I truly are, lost and hurting, distressed people who were trapped in sinful habits which separated them from God. Compassion led Jesus to action. But Christianity without compassion always leads to being judgmental. See, Christianity without compassion not only sets up a religious behavioral standard, but we also, as individuals, have standards that we think others should also live up to that we ourselves can't even live by. That's what Christianity without compassion does. If anyone had a right to be self-righteous, man, it was Jesus. If anyone had a right to be self-righteous and not compassionate, it would be Jesus. He not only fulfilled the natural law of commandments, I mean, he obeyed every jot and tittle, every T crossed, every dot I dotted. He obeyed it all. He lived it. He embodied it. But he also fulfilled the internal nature and essence of God. He embodied that not only externally, but inside. But the motive that drove the nature and essence of his internal and external life wasn't not going to hell, not being better than someone else. It was compassion. When the religious Pharisees saw that Jesus was hanging out and eating and drinking with sinners, this is what Jesus said to them in Matthew 9. It is not those who are healthy who need a physician, but those who are sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire compassion and not a sacrifice. For I did not come to call the righteous. I mean, when he says that, he did not come to call the self-righteous, those whose righteousness is born from within and born by what they do. He says, but I come and call the sinner, the one who knows he's not righteous and can't live up to God's standards. He said, it's not sick people, it's sick people I came for, those who need a physician. Compassion carries the ideas of mercy, making peace, humility, empathy, and not judgment. Compassion doesn't take into consideration what has been said or even done. It doesn't take into consideration gender or skin color or sexual preference, political preference, social status, or ethnicity. Compassion sees hurt and wounding. It sees injustice and pain and seeks the well-being of the one who is experiencing that discomfort and seeks healing of every kind, physical, emotional, mental, and relational, and it seeks reconciliation and all those things. That's what compassion does. This was the message, and this was the motive Jesus was equipping and preparing His disciples with. Listen, compassion is always our motive. I know that you and I, as we go along, we have to fight for that. Jesus said this in Matthew 24. He said in the last days, He said that Christians would betray their fathers and sons and wives. They would betray their own family, and they would hate one another, and most people's love would grow cold. We have to fight for that kind of compassion God has for the centuries. When we've turned our back on Him, when Israel turned their back on Him, when you and I, in this present evil age, when you and I have turned our back on Him, He didn't reject us and push away. It was His compassion that always received us with open arms. Story of the prodigal son and the father. He rejected the father, but the son comes back humble, broken, internal, and the father receives him. It is God's compassion. This is our motive. This is what we're called to. The message, the motive. And now Jesus tells these guys to take the message and the motive and fish for men. See, we have a message, now we have a motive, and now we're to go do something. Fish for men. Or to use synonym phrases, make disciples, reconcile men to God, get Jesus to the people. If you're a Christian, if you're a believer and you're watching this, maybe you attend another church, maybe you're watching from another country, another city, another state, wherever you are. If you're a Christian, He has made you a fisher of men. This is our mission. Doesn't matter what church you've been saved in. Doesn't matter how you became a Christian. This is what you weren't a fisher of men. Now He has made you something. He's made you a fisher of men. This is our mission. The evangelization of the world. To win people in our community, our neighborhood, our homes, our workplace. To win people to Christ. Of course, graciously, not demanding, building relationally, speaking truth in love, all those kinds of things, all the kindness and the compassion to minister to people. This is our mission. In Luke 19, I love this story. It's a story about a man by the name of Zacchaeus. And I'm talking now about becoming a fisher of men. I'm talking about the mission of God. I'm talking about bringing Jesus to the people. It's a story about a man by the name of Zacchaeus. He's a short, exacting Jewish man. He's a very wealthy chief tax collector. He's considered to be a national and political traitor to his own people, and he's hated by most people. I mean, the conservative religious people disliked him, the Pharisees. The general population of the Jews disliked him because he was taking money from them for the Romans. And the Romans, the oppressors of his own people, were just simply using him. They didn't care about him because he collected taxes for them. They're just using him. But notice how Jesus treats Zacchaeus. Jesus didn't take the conservative religious people's side and see Zacchaeus as irreligious. Jesus didn't take the general population side and see Zacchaeus as a traitor of his own people. Jesus didn't see him that way politically. Nor did Jesus take the Roman side and just see him as a pawn, someone useless, just someone to be used to accomplish something. Jesus took God's side and saw him as lost. A sheep without a shepherd. Luke 19, Jesus tells Zacchaeus, He says, I'm coming to your house, and today salvation will come to your home. In verse 7 of Luke 19, it says, when Jesus makes this statement to Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house, and salvation is coming to your house. It says, when they heard Jesus say this, when they, the Pharisees and the crowd, saw it, they all began to grumble, saying, He, Jesus, has gone to the guest of a man who is a sinner. In verse 19 and in verse 10, Jesus replied, saying, Today salvation has come to this house because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man, and this is the statement we're focusing on here, for the Son of Man has come to seek and save that which was lost. Lost in this context. If you look up this word, we're going to look at the word seek and we're going to look up the word lost. The word lost in this context means utterly destroyed. It's not the idea of extinction, but of extinction, but of ruin, of spiritual destitution. Zacchaeus, by all natural means, was successful in terms of finances, and probably he was successful in terms of finances, and just like Matthew, the tax collector, he probably had lots of irreligious friends. Yet in Jesus' description and explanation as to why he was with Zacchaeus is because he saw Zacchaeus as he actually was, not just in the natural, but as he actually was, ruined and spiritually destitute. And let me just end with this. Jesus said, I have come not only to save the lost, but also to seek them out. He says, the Son of Man, I have come to seek and to save that which is lost. I have come to save that which is spiritually destitute. But our mission is about seeking out what Jesus called lost. That is the mission. I've come to seek that which is lost. Our mission is about seeking out what Jesus called lost, those who are spiritually destitute. Seeking means thinking about how to do something. If I'm going to seek something out, I got to think about how am I going to do it. It implies that when you look this up, it means inquiring. It means asking questions and investigating and searching out information. It means endeavoring. In other words, being diligent to make attempts to accomplish what you're seeking. It also means requirement. It's something that you have to do. You're eaten up with it. You're compelled to do it. Paul said, I am compelled to preach the gospel. It was all on the inside of him. The mission compelled him. This is what the rock is all about. To seek in order to find with the intention of finding. I mean, sometimes we seek to find, but we have no intention that we will actually find it. But what we're talking about is the mission. Rock, reach out celebration, is to seek in order to find with the intention of actually finding. It's coming together around the mission of God with our time and our finances. Manna Church High Point, listen, our mission, our vision. Our mission is to equip God's people. That's preparation. That's what Jesus, we want to prepare you with a message. We want to prepare you with a motive. You equip God's people to change their world. That's our mission. When we say to change our world, we mean take that message to people we know, people we will know, and share the message of grace and of the kingdom of God with them. And to plant churches with that same preparation, that same message, that same motive, and that same mission. So we're asking you to continue to pray and ask God how He would have you be part of the Rock financially. Again, you can go to the website and you can find that card that will help you navigate a level of giving. We just simply want you to ask Jesus how you have you be a part, and then step in faith, really open your heart, and then just step in faith and obey Him. See, I just trust God knows what He's called us to do. God has called us to touch our city, touch our community. God has called us to change our world. And so the Rock helps us get out and do that. Next week, we will hear from some of our missionaries. We'll find out what God is doing there. We'll share some of the outreaches that we have done this year and what God has been doing. And then we will also look at the budget for 2021. So I just want to say to you that maybe you joined us and maybe you're new to Manna, maybe you're new to this particular worship experience, and you're just saying, hey, I'd like to find out more about Manna Church, or I really want to find out more about who Jesus is, and I'd like to find out more about what my part is in His mission. And maybe you feel just like when Jesus was walking down the Sea of Galilee, by the Sea of Galilee, and He called those men and said, follow me. Maybe you're feeling that tugging of your heart. And you're like, yeah, I always knew God was calling me. I've always known that there was something better. There was something that He wanted me to do, a destiny. If you feel that, I want you to get your phone out. I want you to do me a favor. Just get your phone out and text this phrase. It's on the screen. Text this phrase, MCHP Jesus, to 940-941-90. It's on the screen. I think I just messed up the number. Anyway, I want you to just text that number, text that phrase, and we want to talk to you. We want to spend some time with you praying. Anyway, thank you for your time today. Thank you for letting us join you wherever and whenever you are. Can't wait to see you next week. God bless.
Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. And miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. 'Cause this is a move. This is a move. This is a move. This is a move. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. We need a move. We need a move.
I love that. The mission that God has given to the church is the evangelization of the world. Now, if you want to take your next step in being a part of this community of faith, maybe you've been looking for a church for a little while, or maybe you're looking for some deeper relationships, or you simply have questions about who we are as Manna Church. Well, the best place to take that step is in something that we call Growth Track. It's a series of small groups that helps answer the question who we are and where you're going and what your part is. But even more than that, helps you discover who you are and what God has called you to do. Now, we do Growth Track in person and online pretty much every single Sunday. So you can text MCHP Growth Track to 94090, or you can visit our website. Now, in December, we'll be taking a month off so we can celebrate the holidays, but we'll be kicking right back off in January. So still sign up now so we can get connected with you. But thanks for joining us today. We hope that you had an amazing time at church, and we hope that you had a great Thanksgiving. We know that this Thanksgiving time has looked probably the most different than ever. And if you need someone to pray with or someone to talk with, just text MCHP Prayer to 94090, or again, you can visit us at our website. we'd love to pray with you. And maybe you just want to talk to somebody and you want to celebrate what's going on in your life. We'd love to celebrate with you as well. Manna Church and those that are watching, we love you so much, and we hope that we get to see you next week right here online.